What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Silent Protagonist here, and today we're going to be talking in the cutscenes, but not in the gameplay.
Yeah, we're going to be talking into the cutscenes and not in the gameplay, right into this.
Right into this. Alright, so yeah, this video is about the Silent Protagonist trope, which is in lots of games, tons of games.
And why we think it's overrated.
Yep.
And only the most skilled writer can pull off a silent protagonist.
Yeah, we think it's overrated because there are so many silent protagonists out there.
And most of them have no point in being silent.
Yeah,
other than to save money.
We'll get into that. Alright, so I think the first biggest issue is that if it's a silent protagonist, your character doesn't get character development.
Yeah.
Now, I already hear everyone, you're supposed to be a vessel. It's not your character not supposed to have a character development. It's supposed to be you. Yeah, I get
That's
it. That
boring.
You're supposed to be a vessel, but still, that's boring.
Yeah. I mean, some people, the only thing they care about is the power fantasy. But I care about the story and the writing. And it can just be really frustrating and annoying when there's a silent protagonist who's just a brick. He is just a walking brick, and there's just... You don't really feel... Even if you feel like it's you don't really feel like you're cool because it's just a guy that is just... You move him.
Yeah, you move him around.
And that's
stuff like
it.
That. So... Because, yeah, constantly in interviews and stuff like that, people are like, oh, yeah, we want to make you feel like the character. And it's like, yeah, that does work sometimes. And I do like it when they're like, when people are talking to me. It does make me feel like, all right, I'm doing this and stuff like that. But most of the time, it doesn't work. So, for example, there's this game called Bioshock 2. We like Bioshock 2, all right? We don't hate it as much as other people. But still, your character, since you're a big daddy, you're super silent. And in the campaign, there's like your daughter or something like that. And she's like pouring her heart out. And you're just standing there. You're just like...
I think that Bioshock 1 also has this issue, but in Bioshock 1 it's much better.
It's much better.
But there are still instances where when the silent protagonist honestly breaks immersion for me.
It does, because they have to write around it.
Yeah, they have to write around the fact that you are a brick that can't say any words.
So constantly in the cutscene, your character just is looking around, and they're like, where are you from? And then something interrupts them, and they're like, oh, I guess you don't have a name. And it's like, you did... What?
Yeah.
No, I do. And they're like, huh, what's your name, buddy? Boom, loading screen, and then it just turns into a keyboard. It's like, oh, okay, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just something, like, they have to write around it all the time. Super awkward.
Yeah, it can be really awkward when you're in a character moment, or like in Half-Life 2, for example. I think Half-Life 1 pulled off the silent protagonist very well, but in Half-Life 2, it wasn't as good in my opinion. And in Half-Life 2, there's some scenes where it's like there's this girl that has a crush on you, but you literally never said anything. Why does she have a crush on you? It doesn't make any sense. And then like there's just scenes where she's just talking to you and just like you're just standing there and receiving all of this exposition and not saying a single word. There's no exchange of dialogue at all, and these are supposed to be real people in a real world, but yet they never talk. And
exactly,
it just completely breaks the immersion of the story for me.
And like so many times people are talking to you and stuff like that, and like they would like it's because the writers can't ask questions. Like often in games and stuff like that, you could ask questions of the character, like how did you get here and stuff like that, but you can't ask those questions to a silent protagonist and stuff like that. Now, silent protagonist, we don't mean like, because there are lots of protagonists where you're silent, but like you have options to choose.
Like dialogue options? Yeah. I think that dialogue options, for example, in RPGs and stuff, like in Persona, your guy never talks, but you choose what he says. Like, and sometimes you won't see his lines, but it'll say like you said, and then it'll tell you like a brief overview of what you said or the concept rather than the actual words, and you can have dialogue options and stuff. I think that's fine.
That's fine. But we're just talking about pure silence.
Yeah, pure silence.
And also, so yeah, this is also super immersion breaking and stuff like that. And now we're gonna be talking about why. Also, like the silent protagonist in gameplay versus cutscenes is also super jarring.
I think. Well, what do you... Oh, yeah. In gameplay, silent protagonists aren't that bad.
No.
But in cutscenes, because it's like a movie, and it's supposed to be more of a... it's supposed to be more of a depiction of real life, of a realistic world, of a logical world, rather than the gameplay of sort of the canon events of a story. It's much more frustrating when you watch your character just stand there, like in Destiny, while all these people are talking to you, and your character just says nothing.
Yeah, and they just stand there and they just talk at you. It feels like they're talking at you instead of talking to you. That's why Cortana works a lot better. And that's why
we're going to talk about the best execution of a silent protagonist.
All right, first we'll go super mega. Or wait, actually, no, I want to bring up this one point. I'll bring it up. One thing that always super bugged me is when they spoke in the cutscene but never in the gameplay.
Yeah,
it's always so annoying. Like for example, in the game Neo. Like your character is constantly speaking in the cutscenes, and he's like, "Hey, give me that back," and stuff like that. And then in the gameplay, they're like, "Blah blah 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 blah," and you're just like, and stuff like that. So it's that is also super immersion breaking when you're talking in the cutscenes but never in the gameplay because they can't pay the voice actor and stuff like that.
But we're gonna talk about Halo and why we think the Halo games do a great job, not Halo 4, of the silent protagonist
and Halo
trope.
5
and Halo 5, yeah.
But yeah, we think those games. All right, so first we'll go. All right, technically, Master Chief is not a silent protagonist, so we think there's only one good. Super ultra mega silent protagonist who never says a thing, and that's Noble 6.
Oh yeah, Noble 6 is
Noble
good.
6.
And sorry, also, Noble 6 is.
Never mind.
Yeah,
We're
but
talking about
the one in ODST, the rookie.
That's it. Sorry,
but I don't think Noble 6 is bad either.
No, Noble 6 is bad, but still, never mind. The rookie, yes, the rookie is the only really great purely silent protagonist. Even then, he's not amazing. I wouldn't say, "Oh, I love the rookie." It's he never really says anything, but it still works really well, and that's because I think the writing in that game is still really, really good. So that's why it's able to work in you're alone half of the time, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but anyway, let's talk about the Master Chief and the reason he works when other silent protagonists fail. First of all, I don't really think he's a silent protagonist, but kind of he's an execution of this trope, so we'll talk about him.
Yeah.
Which basically he talks in the cutscenes, but not in the gameplay. But the reason it works in the gameplay is because Cortana is talking to the player. And I don't know about you, but when I played, I always imagined that Chief was answering, but I wasn't hearing it because I was the Chief or something like that.
Yeah, and it's up to interpretation. You can interpret it whatever way you want. That's why this works well as well. And yeah, sometimes you respond. And also, again, the writing for Halo 2 is really, really great. To the point where Cortana would ask you questions and give you information, but you felt like you didn't have to respond. It felt like Master Chief didn't really like talking instead of, he was just silent, arbitrarily silent.
I think that's something they did well in the cutscenes as well. Even though he did talk in the cutscenes, he only spoke when it was absolutely necessary, so you felt like it was faithful to how he was in the gameplay.
Yeah.
So it didn't result in awkward situations where people are just talking to you and you say nothing, but it also you weren't just some talking machine in the cutscenes and then said nothing in the gameplay.
Yeah, so let me bring up this really brilliant example, and I'm just gonna, we're just stroking Halo 2, and we're just Halo 2 is so good, but, so for example, in the cutscene when you find the Halo and stuff like that, Johnson comes over and bops the little door where you're doing, and he goes bang bang, and then you go bang back. It wouldn't have worked if Johnson was like, "You ready, Chief?" and you were like, "I'm ready," or something like that.
Yeah.
So just those little moments where the characters
they speak and they communicate in some other way.
That really helps reinforce the silent protagonist trope and stuff like that. Which, as we said, we think it's overrated just because of how many times it's done.
So many games try it because they're trying to emulate the success of a few games that did it well.
Yeah,
I thought it was good in Portal as well.
Yeah, Portal was pretty good. Halo is good, but besides that, I don't really remember.
Half-Life 1, I thought.
I don't remember half of the silent protagonists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, again, Danganronpa. I know Danganronpa does not have silent protagonists, and I love the protagonists of Danganronpa.
Yeah.
They can actually be characters and stuff like that.
I like it when the protagonist is a character. I think that it's great that the Arbiter is a character and not a silent elite or something like that.
Yeah, it just wouldn't work, and that's why we think
imagine if the prophets were giving him his judgment and he just sat there and said nothing. And then they were like, become the Arbiter, and never said anything. You just put on the helmet.
Just put on the helmet.
That would be so lame.
That would be so terrible and stuff like that. But because he talks and he's an actual character, you feel like you're playing a character. And I always prefer playing a character rather than just
playing an armor,
playing a vessel or whatever.
Playing a brick that walks or something.
Yeah, which is often what happens and stuff like that. So that's why we think that when the silent protagonist is executed really well, it works. But I'd still rather just play as a character. Like I said, Danganronpa protagonists. I love all of the Danganronpa protagonists. And even then, like, a lot of the protagonists, even if they, like, never really say what you want to say, there's still ways to write it, like, ambiguously. You could write their thoughts, like, for example, Danganronpa. So you could keep things ambiguous so you could feel like the character, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like you're completely detached.
And, yeah, like in Danganronpa, the dialogue options, when they give you them, are like it's only things the character would say or do.
Yeah, that's why we think that it's good to have little links between cutscenes and gameplay, and also just stuff like that, little links to make it feel like you have choice, but at the same time you are actually still playing a character, not just some vessel or brick.
All right, well, thank you for watching this video. If you agreed or disagreed, please leave it in the comments. We're always looking for video ideas, so if you have something, please leave that in the comments as well.
Stuff we played as well. We're not going to make a video about...
like Bruh Game 5000.
We're not going to make
We're only making videos about things we played or know about or movies we watched.
Yeah, we're not going to make a video about why the Care Bears is the most trash movie ever made.
I hate Mars bars.
Yeah, I hate Mars bars or something like that. So give us something. We don't play... Okay, yeah, let's give them a frame of reference. We don't play MMOs... RPGs, and
anything
that
requires lots of grinding, we probably haven't played.
Like, if you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, you should do a video on Warcraft," I don't know. I've never played it.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you like the video, like it, leave the comments and stuff like that. So see ya.
See ya. Later. Bye.